The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
Boarders, and welcome to Board with Video Games, the gaming podcast that strives for the right balance of coverage for games you play on your table and on your television. You can think of us as the Frosthaven and making boatloads of money on Kickstarter of gaming podcasts. We're a proud member of the PSVG Podcast Network and thrilled to be part of the Dice Tower Network as well. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle, and joining me on this co-op adventure, the guy who is worth well more than $13 million in my book. Josh, how are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing great. That's very kind of you to say. I'm definitely not worth more than 13 million in anyone's book, but it's nice that you said that.
Well, I am definitely not worth more than 13 million in my insurance agent's book. That is for sure.
Well, yeah. I don't think many of us are.
That is true.
Oh, I'm more the Gloomhaven to you. You're a Frosthaven, I think, is what it is. I'm the lower budget version of this podcast.
I don't know if that's true. I think you're selling yourself short.
Well, very self-deprecating.
And really, if you think about it, without Gloomhaven, there could be no Frosthaven.
There you go. That's one way to spin that positively.
Absolutely. Josh, do you want to hear something interesting?
I always want to hear interesting things.
So, earlier this week, I got a package. And in that package was a board game.
Uh-huh.
And I messaged you, Josh, and I said, Josh, did you get me a board game? And then you played very coy. And then you finally relented.
By saying yes.
By saying yes. Well, you asked first if there was a note.
Yeah.
And I said no.
There was no supposed to be a note.
Yeah, there was no note. So that's fine. So thank you very much for Quacks of Quedlinburg. I greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome.
For those of you who are not patrons, on Board with Everything, we had been kind of doing a little quiz contest thing the last few episodes. And I had been victorious in that over our guests. So as a result, Josh bought me a board game, which I appreciate very, very much. But Josh, remember how I asked you about the duplicate?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the weird thing, right? I got the box. The box said duplicate package on it. And I got an envelope from my post office that said, hey, you owe postage for another box that is sitting at our post office.
Oh, can I guess? Was it unbroken?
It was not unbroken.
Okay.
It was another copy of Quacks of
Quedlinburg.
Really? Yeah, so I now have 2 copies
nice.
of Quacks of Quedlinburg. So I think, Josh, it's only appropriate that we have some sort of contest to give away this other copy. Does that seem reasonable?
That's very nice of you to do that.
So next week's show, we will have a contest that we will have for giving away a brand new copy of Quacks of Quedlinburg. I opened it up, looked at it, and said, hey, this is pretty cool. I'm excited I have the game. I don't really need 2 copies of it. So I kept the box and everything just so I could easily ship it to someone else.
Nice.
Because Cool Stuff does a really nice job of packaging their things.
Yeah.
So
that is weird. I noticed that I ordered something from Amazon and it was shipped by Miniature Market.
Oh, really?
And I thought that was very weird because did they fulfill it also? Like, I bought it on Amazon because it was cheaper than buying it on Miniature Market, and then Miniature Market shipped it to me.
Well, I'm wondering if this is that whole situation. Have you heard about the whole food app situation?
No.
Okay, so there's this thing going on about how, living where I live, we don't have any of the delivery services. It's not a thing that really exists. So Grubhub and all of that, not a thing I interact with on a daily basis like many people do. But Grubhub and all these other apps and food delivery services are talking about how, hey, let's support restaurants by, ordering food and we'll deliver it and all that good stuff. The thing is if you order through the Grubhub app, you're actually paying Grubhub, who has signed an agreement or with the restaurant that you've ordered from.
Yeah.
And they only give them a portion of the money.
Yeah.
So if your meal was $20, that restaurant might only get like $7.
That's crazy.
So it's kind of this whole situation where you should try to do as best you can to actually order directly from the restaurants.
Yeah.
Because then, Grubhub and other places will still deliver it, but their overhead is so much less that charge isn't as big of a deal to something like that as in comparison to the restaurant has the overhead of the food and the employees and all of the things and the actual building and those sorts of things. So I'm wondering if that was the same thing with when you ordered the game from Amazon. You got it for cheaper, but Miniature Market, so then Miniature Market's like, well, we got to fulfill this, so I guess we're fulfilling it for less than we'd like to fulfill it for.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I was surprised because I thought you were sending me a package in return because it said, you have a delivery from Miniature Market. I was like, I didn't order anything from Miniature Market. I opened up my account, no orders, and I was like, is it Keyforge? Do they resend me Keyforge? So yeah. So that's interesting. So I guess they sent cool stuff via that Amazon package.
So is that where you got Unmatched from? Was that?
I got Unmatched through Mondo's website.
Oh,
because it was more expensive on Amazon.
Gotcha. Look at all these things, all these games we're getting.
It's crazy. Yeah, I got so many games.
It is ridiculous. But like I said, so next week for sure, we will have some sort of contest about winning a copy of Quacks of Quedlinburg. Josh has talked about it on the show previously. My goal is to play it prior to next week's show so we can talk about it even more then. But we will have some contest where you can win the game. But, it's a Spiel des Jahres winner. So
we could even Skype play that. That would be an easy game to play over Skype.
That is true. That is something we could definitely do. So any other shenanigans you want to talk about before we jump into the show?
I don't think so.
Awesome. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this week. As always, if you have any feedback, questions, or suggested topics, hit us up at Board with VG on Twitter or check out the Instagram, also Board with VG. We're a proud part of Play Some Video Games, and PSVG is on Patreon. We're absolutely thrilled with the support you have given us there thus far. And if you'd like to monetarily support what we do, you can find us there at patreon.com/PSVG. But the most important thing is just that you listen and maybe share our show with someone else who you think would enjoy it. We're also a member of the Dice Tower Podcast Network, so if you enjoy our conversations about board games and would like to dive deeper into that world, we encourage you to check out the Dice Tower Podcast as well as all of the other members of the network. No matter what type of board games you enjoy, there's a podcast on the network that is right for you. Josh, you get the first topic of the show. Kick us off. What are you bringing to the table?
Hey, so before we do my topic, I just thought I would talk briefly about a couple games I was playing. That
sounds great.
They're new, so I think it's relevant. It's look at me transitioning to PC gaming. I still don't have my new PC, which has been a very crazy story, which I guess I'll save for another time.
Wait, I was going to say, I thought you were supposed to have it by now.
Yeah, it actually still hasn't shipped, and so far, Amazon Payments has charged me over $2,000 on a $200 purchase.
What?
For the payments. I guess what happens is they put the order through to one of their distribution centers. They put a pending charge in your account. When the distribution center says they don't have it available, they go to the next one and then they charge you again.
Oh my goodness.
So in the process of a week, they charged me 4 times on my debit card. And then when it was declined for the 5th time, they used my backup credit card and charged me 3 times on my credit card, which caused Frosthaven to decline. And
oh my gosh.
It's been insane. And I've talked to 3 different people and I've been lied to by 2 different people, including the last person who told me yesterday it is now shipped and it still has not shipped. And then it recharged my debit card again. So I am very angry with Amazon right now. And I found out the only way to get something from Amazon is by tweeting your complaint, because talking directly to them has got me nothing. So there will be photos of conversations and even an email they sent me if I don't have any word by Tuesday on
interesting.
Twitter.
Because I've basically only ever interacted with their customer service via email.
Yeah.
And I have always gotten something.
Yeah, see, even when I called out the fact that they can view my past conversations and that I was lied to about my order being shipped, the girl said, I'll make sure to talk to my boss so this person can get trained on how to correctly. I'm like, okay, that's it. So great. And then she just did the same thing and lied to me right after that. So it's been fun. Anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. What I am here to talk about is I have been playing a lot of PC games, mostly because I've had a pretty good amount of time to play with Lucas from PSVG Prime and Flexibles. So
I'm not certain what that other podcast is, but PSVG Prime I know.
Yeah, I mean they're always talking about how they're ending it, so who knows? So first off, I've jumped into Gears Tactics in a big way. I really kind of just wanted to check it out. And the first opening to the game is very difficult. I think I died 4 times, maybe more, because it is a tactics game. So you have to be very careful about your decision making and a click. You can't take that back. You move a guy somewhere. That's it. He is moving there. And if you didn't realize that there's 4 locusts and 3 grubs there, you're out of luck. You can't take that back. And then if he dies, then that's just it. I would say after that first opening mission, the curve flattens a little bit. Not to use our current pandemic terminology. But it kind of evens out the difficulties. So all the missions after that are a little easier, but that could just be me understanding the game a little bit better. My only history with tactics games that I've actually fully played is Mario X Rabbids and Final Fantasy Tactics, which are 2. Mario Rabbids is closer to this. Final Fantasy Tactics, totally different, just as far as gear and weapons and stuff. However, since that, I put a lot of time into Gears Tactics. There is an insane amount of customization. It looks great on my PC, which is not a high-end rig, and hopefully when my new one comes in, if it ever does, there's a cool thing. It does you can do a benchmark in the main menu. So I took a screenshot of my benchmark on this computer. I'll do the same on the new one just to see how much better it runs. But if you're a fan of tactics, or if you're a fan of Gears, or curious about both, this is a super easy recommendation. It is incredibly fun. It's challenging, but not too challenging after you get through, for me at least, after you get through that tutorial. And I've just been having a blast. There's so many different ways to tackle a mission. You have a roster of up to 9 gears that you can have, and you take 4 with you. So you can mix up your team all the time. Usually there's 1 or 2 required people that have to go on a mission. But I fought a Brumac last night. If you know Gears, you know
very cool.
what those are. And it was a very challenging and long fight, but I came out victorious.
Nice.
So that was great. Highly recommend Gears Tactics.
Can I ask you a couple of questions quick?
Of course, please.
How far are you into it? Because I've heard the campaign is 40 hours.
That's awesome. I just got to Act 2 or Chapter 2.
Okay.
But I think Chapter 2... What would you say is inside? Is a chapter inside an act, or an act inside a chapter?
A chapter's inside an act, I would say.
Okay, so I'm in Act 2. I think the first chapter had the first act had 8 or 9 or 10 chapters. Typical of a Gears game, I think.
Right. Okay.
So yeah.
And like I said, I don't know if that's accurate. That's just what someone else I heard say, that the campaign pushed 40 hours, and that's a lot of content, especially for a tactics game.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see, there's... The story is very intriguing. I could see them, they're trying... It definitely weaves into Gears' story. Right. And the pre-order bonus is, you get Coltrane as a character once you hit Chapter 4 in Act 1. So I unlocked him. I haven't used him yet. So there's definitely character familiarity as well. But so far, he's the only character that I recognize from the Gears stories, except for the bad guys.
Okay, I was going to say that was my next question, is that I thought I had heard that it's all new characters, basically, and that seems to be the case?
Yeah, essentially, everyone's new, yeah.
Okay, and then how do you think this is going to translate to controller down the line? Because obviously just a PC game right now, which is very cool to see Microsoft's commitment to big, beefy PC gaming. But they said this is coming to Xbox. So how do you think this will transition to a controller?
I think it'll be fine. It's not like a typical RTS. I think it's more feasible with a controller. There's even using the mouse and keyboard, using like to turn the screen and stuff, that would be very easy on a controller with the analog stick. In fact, I could try the next time I play and use my Xbox controller and see how it feels, and I can report back on that.
That was going to be my next question, is if you knew if it already had controller support.
Yeah, it does have controller support. I have my Xbox controller, my Xbox One S controller plugged into my computer, so I can give that a shot.
Very cool. Thank you for answering those questions.
No problemo. Also, after a night of fun antics in Grand Theft Auto 4 with Lucas, we saw people chatting in our Discord about people jumping onto the Australian Xbox Game Pass store and downloading Streets of Rage 4.
Right.
And that's what we did while we were playing Grand Theft Auto. Lucas didn't have too much time, but we exited Grand Theft Auto. We played probably 30 minutes of Streets of Rage 4, and then the next night we played probably an hour. And this was a game that wasn't really on my radar. I didn't expect much from it. I was a fan of the games back in the day on the Genesis. It's awesome. It's short. We almost beat it our second night playing. But I hear there's more replayability. There's definitely different modes. But the fact that it has online co-op support is nice. It looks great. The music is great. It has like cell shaded. Lucas compared it to like almost like the Borderlands art style, which I 100% agree with. And if you're familiar with the older Streets of Rage games, the levels are pretty similar. It's almost more like a remake than a new game. There's definitely familiar bad guys and levels. Even the map is very similar to, I think, Streets of Rage 2. So it's more like an homage to that than maybe an original game. Where they do throw in some new characters, though. But also, it's on Game Pass on Xbox and PC, so that is also a game I would definitely recommend checking out.
Yeah, I was almost booted up the Xbox to play Streets of Rage 4 because it is something that seems really fun. It was a genre I liked back in the day. I think it's a genre that maybe hasn't aged amazingly. You don't get a lot of beat 'em ups anymore. And I think there are specific reasons why. There were good things about that category of game, but they were also designed in a very specific way for a very specific reason in general. So, they wanted your quarters.
Well, if you want to play a co-op, let me know and I'll download it.
Awesome. Like I said, I'll have to boot up ye old Xbox One X and get that downloaded because I do want to play it. So
I can download it for you right now on my phone because it pushes right to your console.
That's true. That's very true. I think I have space. I don't even know.
No, I wouldn't do that to you. I'll let you do that. So I think that's long enough. I can skip my first topic. Anyways, that can be the first topic.
Okay. If you say so, we could always cover it if you want.
Also, Humble Bundle came out swinging this month, which I'm very excited about. So now I finally have Jurassic Park Evolution on the PC, which
nice.
I'm glad to play it where it's appropriate. And XCOM 2 plus DLC was also a part of Humble Bundle.
Oh, dang.
Which is
that
huge.
Is some good stuff.
As well as a bunch of other games.
Yeah, very strategy, tacticky month of gaming here for you.
Yeah, and finally, also in gaming, Hand of Fate 2 is finally on sale on the Switch. So I bought Hand of Fate 2 for $11 and I kept wondering, like, am I going to play this? This is a game I loved, Hand of Fate.
I did too. The original was great.
And I've been waiting to get Hand of Fate 2. It just hasn't gone on sale on the Xbox. So I saw it on the Switch sale, so I grabbed it. So I hope to play that. And let people know how that is next week because I'm such a huge fan. I have the board game as well on my Amazon wishlist to grab as well. Ordeals of Fate. So yeah. How about you? Do you have any games you want to talk about that you've been playing?
So I probably next week, I'm thinking it'll be either 2 or maybe even 3 game reviews for me next week because I am still playing Trials of Mana. I'm not as far in it as I'd like to be before I give it a full review because I'm about 6 hours in. And obviously playing some Quacks of Quedlinburg is a goal. Hopefully going to be playing Spirit Island as well.
Nice.
And then jumped actually back into Call of Duty with and finally played a little bit more Warzone and quite a bit of multiplayer over the last couple of days. So we'll have some more impressions on all of those things coming forward, but nothing that I have played enough of where I want to give a full review to. But that's kind of all the stuff that is in rotation currently. So
cool.
All right. My first topic this week, Josh, is that people seem to be turning to board games during the pandemic, as Hasbro's business was up 40% in Q1.
Crazy.
They have said, quote, the penetration of gaming has increased substantially, which that statement makes me chuckle a little bit because I'm not an adult.
Because you're 12. Me too.
Yeah. This story is from ICV2, who really does a really great job of covering games business news. And I'm really glad I stumbled upon this website in the last month or so, because my goodness, they have some good stuff there. But this story by Milton Gripe talking about Hasbro's business ventures. And from the story, it says, quote, total gaming sales, which include the company's Hasbro gaming brand portfolio and franchise brands Magic the Gathering and Monopoly, were $340.5 million for Q1, up 40% from $243.4 million in Q1 2019. So that in of itself, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of games. But I think the thing that is even more interesting was that Hasbro Gaming, all the gaming brands except Monopoly and Magic, was up 30% to $140.1 million from $107.6 million. Among the Hasbro gaming brands account for growth were Dungeons & Dragons, The Game of Life, Jenga, and Connect 4. So if you take out Monopoly and Magic, they made $140.1 million, which then if you go back to their total revenue, that means between just Magic and Monopoly, they made over or just about $200 million just from those two properties. So Josh, number one, surprised by the news of Hasbro just having a good quarter? And number two, does it surprise you that Magic and Monopoly are so dominant when it comes to Hasbro's business, even for comparing it to things like Dungeons and Dragons?
Well, it's funny. I'm not surprised. I think it's great. It's great news. Board games make sense, especially if you're trapped in a house with somebody. You need to find some common ground, and board games is a great way to do that, depending on the board game. Does it surprise me with Monopoly and Magic being maybe two of the most toxic and most liked things in board gaming? No, that doesn't surprise me. It's just so popular that and I think it will always be that way. I think Monopoly has kind of taken, in a weird way, some notes from Magic by releasing new editions every other month or so. So there's so many different versions of both of these that you're... Now, I don't know what they're manufacturing compared to what they're selling, but you're opening up your specific market to so many more people, because you're just waiting for that one person who doesn't own Monopoly to find that themed Monopoly, like Baby Yoda Monopoly. I just saw they announced yesterday from Hasbro Pulse is coming out with all the new Star Wars products. So now you can get Baby Yoda Monopoly, and all these people fangirl and fanboying out on Baby Yoda can be like, okay, maybe this will be the first Monopoly I buy. You know, they have Dungeons & Dragons Monopoly. They have, when's the Magic Monopoly coming out? I mean, that's got to be down the line. So that's how I think Monopoly is. You know, they've had some hits and misses. Like, I think I can go to any Target right now and find 100 copies of Mrs. Monopoly in the clearance section because it just didn't land. But yeah, they know what they're doing to an extent. And while I don't want to call it mainstream, the board game community in general hates Monopoly, unfortunately. Like, they're very elitist as far as that goes, which I really wish they weren't. It's nice to see that it's not affecting Hasbro's sales, because I hate to see that happen to any board game, just because people view it as less than. That's always going to be an issue for me. I still find that frustrating when I see people post, like, best board game you're playing in the quarantine, but you can't say Monopoly.
Right.
You're like, Okay, well, there goes all the new fans in this board game group that maybe just play Monopoly.
For sure. So do you think this success is going to continue? They talk about in the article how a lot of, quarter one wasn't necessarily impacted by any manufacturing things, but moving forward, Magic the Gathering had a new set called Ikoria, Land of the Behemoths, but they actually moved that up, the release of that up, because they were worried about printing shortages, and there were some for the Commander sets and things like that. So do you think that we're going to see a more level second quarter for them because of manufacturing, distribution, and having a harder time getting games to people? They do talk about how e-commerce in the US was strong. It was up 60%, but there's so much, that right now is something about 35% of their retailer locations are closed. So, e-commerce in the US can't make up for all of the worldwide closures that are going on. So what do you expect to see for quarter two? Continued growth, or are things going to dip pretty significantly?
So that's a good question. They do kind of address it at the end where they say, like, China's pretty much back to normal, but most other places are not. But they do mention game factories in Massachusetts, Texas, and Ireland are closed.
Right.
And some in India. In India, there's so many people, and I'm sure the factories are immense. If their supply chain isn't affected, I think they're going to see profit for the whole year over last year. Mm-hmm. And regardless, what this pandemic has potentially done is just made more people aware of the board game industry. And that's unfortunately, something good comes out of something bad. Like, more people are looking to other forms of entertainment they haven't considered, and that being board games. So it can only be good for Hasbro as long as they're able to meet the demand. And that's what the big question mark is the demand.
Absolutely. So nice work, Hasbro. Glad things went well for the first quarter, especially for Monopoly and Magic. But everything seems like it's doing pretty strong. So, and like you said, I think it'll probably continue to be strong, since most of the manufacturing has gotten back to capacity. Hopefully we can oh my goodness. I'm struggling for a Saturday night. Continue to see games selling well and people gathering around the gaming table while we are in quarantine. Josh, what is your next topic, sir?
Hey, so this past week, we had 2 events. I'm put them in quotes. One was a surprise, at least to me, live Twitch stream, I think it was Twitch, of Boss Logic, the very famous now movie poster, character creator, designer, artist, designing live via some Adobe Studio thing. I'm assuming it was Adobe. The new...
It looked complicated.
Yes, it was. It looked... designing the new, I guess, alternate box cover, because they just revealed it to be a steelbook today, of Assassin's Creed, and leading up to it, we didn't know the theme. We had rumors. We didn't know the title. We had rumors that actually were wrong, to a degree. And I would say I watched a lot more of this than I thought I would ever watch. That was a long stream. I watched like 4 hours of this. I watched 4 hours of someone digitally creating art. It's really crazy to see the template he started with and where it ended up with, and he kept putting in like red herrings, like this is not actually what it's going to be when he gets finished. Not red herring is the wrong word, but he kept changing things and tricking people, which I thought was really cool. So ultimately what happened was we got the cover art and the reveal of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and it was very cool to watch him design this. So I figured what I would do, we'll talk about this game briefly, and then we'll talk about what it's really, what this is kind of leading into for next week. Yeah. So this is from Ubisoft's website. You're going to become Ivor, a Viking raider, and to the internet's dismay, you can also be a female Viking. Sorry, internet.
Which is definitely what I will be playing.
Yeah. So your character will be raised to be a fearless warrior and lead your clan from icy desolation in Norway to a new home amid the lush farmlands of the 9th century England. If you watch the trailer, they put out a cinematic trailer the next day. I don't think that this escaped people's view, but there was a very cool part of that trailer where it showed the delineation between the different cultures. And you have I'm assuming the King of England speaking at the time, or a leader of England speaking. And it's actually very symbolic about our country right now. While he's speaking of the Vikings coming to England, you see the Vikings coming from ice and cold, and they're coming to England where there's sun and farm, and he's saying like they're coming to pillage our lands, but it shows like Viking families just like building houses and living peacefully, and they've come to kill our people, and they just show them like playing with their kids in the yard. So like everything that the king is saying is like not happening with the Vikings, and I like that that's very something that Assassin's Creed has taken with them, as being very historically accurate, and I really appreciate seeing that. But you're also getting two different sides, what England is telling their people about these people. So it was a really cool trailer. If you can look past, while the blood and violence is important to the story, there's a lot more in that trailer than just the battlefield battle, which I thought was very cool. We'll hit some notes. You can write your own Viking saga. You blaze your own path across England with advanced RPG mechanics, which sounds cool. It does worry me a bit.
What worries you about that? Because I know that has been a point of contention for others as well.
It worries me that it's more Witcher and less Assassin's Creed.
Gotcha.
Which I'm not a Witcher guy. There's too much, if that makes sense, without getting into it.
Do you think the last games were too RPG-y?
They were a bit, but I want to go. I was actually just thinking after this, I want to go back and replay the last one just to see if I can put more time into it, and give it a chance. But yeah, it's definitely taking a turn from the Assassin's Creeds I have loved. But I will say this: a lot of this trailer reminded me of Assassin's Creed 3, and I loved Assassin's Creed 3. I know it's going to be way deeper, but I'm excited to get some more axe combat.
I agree with that. Really quick. Yeah. What do you think the chances are that, they talk about how the Vikings actually sailed to North America, Canada, northeastern United States way back before Columbus and all these other people? What do you think the chances are that there's DLC or something that has you going to quote unquote the New World?
That would be great. I think that would be awesome. It just depends on how long their storyline takes place. How long the story is. Sure. Yeah, that would be cool. Okay, so you can lead epic raids. You can lead a crew of raiders and launch lightning-fast surprise attacks against Saxon armies and fortresses. And then you can claim the riches of the enemy's land for your clan. And then you can engage... Well, I don't think we can skip that one. You can grow your settlement. So this is a big thing that's changed. So your clan's new home grows with your legend. Customize your settlement by building upgradable structures. Unlock new features and quests by constructing a barracks, a blacksmith, a tattoo parlor, and much more. I really think that's really cool. That's definitely the new take for this game. So, sarcasm coming. As long as they can do it better than Far Cry 5 did, I'm all on board for this.
Wait, what's the sarcasm?
Sorry, not sorry. Well, I don't want to be a jerk about it.
So if they can build upon what they started in Far Cry 5, you would appreciate it.
If they can do what New Dawn tried to do, but better,
okay,
let's do that, because they really messed up the in my opinion, the base building in New Dawn.
Did you ever play Ni no Kuni 2?
I didn't, and I keep wanting to play it because everyone talks about this game.
Ni no Kuni 2, they actually have like some settlement building in it, and it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So that's what I immediately thought of when I saw or heard that there was going to be some settlement building. I went right away to Ni no Kuni 2, and if it's similar to that, I'm down for it. It was pretty fun in that game.
Cool. Okay, and while there is no co-op, which was heavily rumored, you can share your custom raider, so you can recruit mercenary Vikings designed by other players, or you can create and customize your own to share online. And then you can sit back and reap the rewards when they fight alongside your friends in their game worlds. I think that's really cool. It's kind of like when people, like I'm playing Gears Tactics and all my guys I'm naming after people in PSVG. Sorry, no one's looked like you yet, Kyle, so I couldn't do it.
That's fine. I mean, I'm kind of okay with that. So,
but I like that they're doing that because they're still focusing on the story of the game without putting in co-op. And I know that that's not always, you're not always sacrificing things to put co-op in a game. But I think if you look at Unity, they were really excited about that co-op aspect, and it just didn't hit.
Right.
So maybe they're going to take some more time, and maybe we'll see it in the next Assassin's Creed.
So what do you think is the cool name we're going to come up for these? Because I know for Xbox games and for like Forza, they call it Drivatars, right?
Oh, yeah.
So can we call them Vikatars? Is that a thing we can call them?
Astars. No?
We'll work on it. We'll come up with something better. We'll work on it.
Centaurs. Oh, centaurs. Okay, so this is all leading up to May 7th. That is Thursday. So 2 days after you hear this. We are going to get in-game footage of Assassin's Creed Valhalla at the Inside Xbox, I don't want to say premiere, show. On May 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, nice and early. And we're also promised first look at Xbox Series X gameplay. Assassin's Creed has already come out saying that this will also be on PS5 and Xbox Series X, whatever that means. It'll also be on current generation consoles.
It will.
So we have Microsoft not showing first-party games, but global developers partners will be shown. So we're going to see first look gameplay. This is what Xbox has been promoting, right? We're going to see gameplay. We're going to see games now. These are games. Now, Kyle, here's my problem with this. And it's not necessarily a problem because I'm happy to see new game content. But we've already been told there aren't going to be any exclusive Series X games. So why is this a Series X gameplay first look?
Because this will show you what it will look like running on Xbox Series X.
Right, but isn't it also supposed to look the same running on my One X?
No, it's not supposed to look the same. It's still just supposed to work.
Okay, it's just not going to look as good on my current console.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Just like, Control did not look as good on the base consoles as they did the Pro/Series X.
That's true. And my
Xbox One
playthrough
X.
of Horizon Zero Dawn definitely looked much better with the Pro. Okay.
Yes. So they're not going to look the same. It's going to look better. Basically, this is going to be their pitch as to why you should upgrade to the Series X. That's kind of what it's going to be.
So, do we think what do you think we're going to see? Do you have any other guesses on what games we're going to see at this show?
Well, I think obviously we know Assassin's Creed. We know. I'm assuming we'll see more of Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I think that's confirmed.
Yeah, I don't necessarily need to see any more Cyberpunk.
I think in-game would be nice.
They've done 2 almost hour trailers of Cyberpunk.
They did those as streams, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen.
And
I haven't
full
seen any
videos
of those,
you can go watch. Yeah, so there's full hour-long videos you can watch of in-game.
Do you think they look the same still?
I mean, it might look
I'm
different.
Curious if they changed any of it.
Right. I guess for me, I I don't know that I need to see what Cyberpunk is going to look like on Series X, because I'm sure it's going to look really, really good. I'm much more interested to see what Assassin's Creed Valhalla is going to look like.
Yeah.
That, to me, is what I'm more interested in. Outside of that, I do wonder, I think it's anyone that they have their marketing deals with, which we don't really know, because after July now, there really isn't any games that are announced for release yet for Solid, right?
That's true.
So I think that it would not surprise me if we have something from EA, probably Madden or something along those lines, to show what Madden's going to look like, or another racing game.
Oh, let's see Apex.
Yeah. Apex. So I think we'll see something from EA. It wouldn't surprise me if we actually see something from Bungie and talking about what Destiny maybe is going to look like and run like, and what that's all going to be there. So that wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, maybe WB. I know WB is supposedly hosting their own event, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah.
But if there is some sort of agreement there with Xbox, that wouldn't surprise me to see something there. And I'm going to guess we're going to see something from a Japanese studio, whether that be Sega, whether that be Platinum, but something there. And also probably, the first person or the shooter that Remedy is working on the first player content for, or the single player content for. Oh, it's huge in like Korea. What's the name of it?
Is it that game that Microsoft got, Crossfire or something like that?
Yes, Crossfire X, I think.
Crossfire X, yeah.
Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me to see maybe the debut of the campaign trailer for that. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of options. I think that there's a number of things that we could see here. And I blocked it off on my work calendar as a meeting to watch. Nice. So I'm interested. I'm really interested to see what this next generation is going to look like. And for me, as somebody, who's obviously primarily a PlayStation person, I'm really interested to see in some ways what games I'm going to be playing on PlayStation.
Yeah.
But I'm very much interested to see how they message this about. They've already said, like you said, that there are not going to be exclusives. So what is the pull for me to upgrade? Like, what are you going to show me that's going to make me say, darn it, I need to get a Series X? Yeah. That's what I want to see.
Yep.
What about you? What do you want to see? What do you think what might be there?
You know what I would really like to see that I don't think we'll see here, but since Ubisoft's showing up, I would love to see Beyond Good and Evil 2, just to see what's going on with that game.
Right.
Also, a game that not a lot of people talk about, but I've been hyped up about for years now, is Biomutant.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind seeing more of that, but I don't know if I should be like mixing my E3 expectations into this or not because of what you're talking about in the news later. But I'm trying not to. My gut says it's going to be more indie style games, not big hitters.
So what about Elden Ring?
Oh yeah, Elden Ring might show up too. But we only got a little taste of that with the teaser trailer. So
yep,
we can see more of that as well.
Because I know there was a lot of people not certain if that was a this gen or next gen game, but since we've heard absolutely nothing about it, I feel like it's got to be at least cross, if not.
It's George R.R. Martin, so it won't come out for 5 more years. So I don't think we have to worry about that. Shoot, what was I gonna say? I was gonna say something else and I forgot it. So we'll see what happens, but I'm not necessarily like betting on anything like hitting hard. I think Assassin's Creed might be the biggest highlight of the show because they are still going to do something in June. It's going to happen. Yeah.
But they've said that's going to be a first party focus. I guess that doesn't mean it's going to be only first party, but
yeah. I mean, we'll see. I'm excited regardless. I'm excited. I just hope like the last Inside Xbox, which they did via webcam because of pandemic, like it was crisp. It was solid. Right. It was more like a direct, and that's what I hope this maintains that as well.
Absolutely. So anything else you want to say about that? Are you excited for this game? Is this a game you want to play?
Oh man, I couldn't be more excited. The theme, like that's right in my wheelhouse. And in fact, that even in the trailer, they hint at Odin even potentially being part of the story really hits that Greek mythology for me, and potentially even Roman mythology, depending on how they handle this.
Right.
And that's always been something that I've been super into. So I'm very excited to see what they put out. So that is really the main reason why I want to revisit Assassin's Creed, to get myself more ready for this game.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm super excited. I love Assassin's Creed. It's one of my favorite game series. I am definitely down to play this and cannot wait to play it when it comes out this fall / holiday / winter / whenever it is that it comes out.
Oh, I wanted to say we'll probably see at least one more studio acquisition
during this Inside Xbox event?
Because they've been hinting at it for a little while. And I think like now's a good time to release that, especially if they're trying to get ahead of like their what would be their E3 presentation.
Do you think that that's something if it has bigger pop if they save it for when they're doing their first party focus?
Maybe if it's like Sega, yeah, maybe hold it. But
and they like our newest addition to our first parties, something like that.
If it's a big studio, yeah, I feel like it might not. It's not going to be Sega. I really don't think so.
Who is it?
It's probably some studio I never heard of. Or when they announce it, I go, "Oh yeah, I know who those people are."
Do you think it's someone like Moon?
Maybe
because they don't technically own Moon, right? Even though they've made Ori for them.
Or who makes Red Faction?
Aren't they in the THQ Nordic
group
it's
THQ
now?
Nordic, so it wouldn't be THQ.
Yeah, I was like THQ. The studio who made that, was purchased by and now is under THQ Nordic. So it
just popped into my head that the people who made Red Faction could be one of them, but that's just out of nowhere. Moon would be great. Yeah, Moon would be a great acquisition for them.
And it seems like a reasonable one for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So it's kind of building off of this that Josh was referring to. We were all very sad when E3 was canceled this summer. But you know what? No worries, because Summer Game Fest is here to make up for it. If you're not familiar, Jeff Keighley coming out on the Twitter saying, introducing Summer Game Fest, a new season of news, in-game events, and playable content from the entire video game industry, May through August 2020, and a developer showcase with I Am 8-Bit 2. See you soon. They also posted a picture of the lineup, Phase 1, it says, and the names on this lineup include 2K, Activision, Bandai Namco, Bethesda, Blizzard, Bungie, CD Projekt Red, Digital Extremes, EA, PlayStation, Private Division, Riot, Square, Steam, WB, and Xbox. That's quite the lineup.
It's like Jeff Keighley is the vulture picking at the bones of E3.
He's like, yeah, I'm not going to E3. Why? Because I'm making my own.
I Am 8-Bit's like, we're not doing the show floor for E3 anymore. And then Jeff Keighley's like, okay, I'll be in your DMs real quick.
Right. Absolutely. So, with so many summer gaming events canceled, Summer Game Fest seems to kind of swoop in to try to give us a thing to look forward to this summer. Having that run from May to August, number one, we'll start there. May to August. Are you excited about this, where we're going to get news kind of sprinkled throughout the summer? Would you rather have it jam-packed into 1 week? What do you think, May to August?
It just depends on how it's so vast. Like, it really depends on how they decide to put out this content.
Right.
It could feel too sparse, honestly. But also knowing that you're going to get gaming content every week might hype people up and give them that like Christmassy kind of feel, like something's coming. But it could be bad too, because you might be excited for a whole week to find something out, and then it's like not great. Like you're like,
right,
I waited all week to find out about Counter-Strike 2. Okay.
Hey, people like Counter-Strike.
I know.
So do you think that if this goes well, I know E3's already announced their dates for next summer, for 2021.
Yeah.
If this goes well, does this become problematic then for publishers, for E3, for trying to decide what exactly they want to do? Because if this goes well and Microsoft and Sony and Square and everyone realizes, oh goodness, we can do these things digitally, get the same number of or amount of buzz and clicks and whatever, does this really potentially pose a threat to what E3 2021 looks like?
I think right now everything is like looming on the threshold of like the digital revolution, and a lot of people are being pushed to embrace digital that have never before, like small businesses, big businesses, and
right.
E3's been so up and down with like closed to the public, open to the public, closed again, open again. I feel like if like Microsoft and Sony, they can afford to go to E3 every year, right? Like that's no sweat off their back. Maybe companies like Riot, even CD Projekt Red, they might not want to spend that money every year. And when they look at their profits next year, this is clearly going to be part of that. So what didn't we spend on marketing that we would spend at E3? Well, how much does that Cyberpunk, like full-size Keanu Reeves statue cost? Oh, it cost us $350,000 to make? Okay, well, where is it now? Sitting in a warehouse. We'll never use it again. So let's not ever do that again. Like, there's a lot of different conversations that can happen from this because, honestly, those displays are only good for a year in the convention circuit. And those companies are eating the cost of that. This could be the next way that all this stuff happens. I think people have already shown they prefer Nintendo Directs over any other type of physical way Nintendo shows their product. Sony's been pretty good. We haven't seen a what was it called again?
State of Play.
State of Play. We haven't seen a State of Play in a little bit, but even Sony was praised for their State of Play. Google's embraced their Stadia now. Microsoft's, like everyone's focusing on this. So I think this will show the companies that aren't doing it yet, maybe Bethesda, Blizzard, Electronic Arts, that this might be the way to do that.
Right.
And this might just, E3 they might have dates, but they might just not have an E3.
For sure. So do you think, are we getting too many things now though? Because IGN is doing their Summer of Games thing.
Yeah.
GameSpot has announced that they're doing a thing. Now we have Summer Game Fest.
Yeah.
Are we just getting into a situation where kind of like when people cut the cord for cable and we're like, oh, we're just going to stream everything. Now there's so many different streaming things that for you to see all the information, you got to subscribe to a million different things. Are we getting there in a very fast pace right now?
People don't want to watch the same content on different mediums. Right. So I think it just depends on who gets there first, is really what it is. If Ubisoft can only offer up one trailer for Valhalla, then the fourth event that airs the same trailer is not going to get any traction.
Right.
So it just depends on who gets there.
Yeah, because I do wonder, because IGN said that there's going to be Cyberpunk stuff at their thing in June. So are we going to see Cyberpunk stuff in May at the later this week at Xbox?
Yeah.
And then in June at IGN's thing, and then some other time during Summer Game Fest, are we going to get Cyberpunk stuff 3-4 months in a row going up to the September release? Maybe, and that's fine, I guess. But a game like Cyberpunk, some people I suppose probably want to see everything they can. I already have seen everything I need to, So for me, I'm like, well, whatever. But so of all of these companies listed that they've talked about, what
Warner
is
Brothers.
there one you are most is Warner Brothers you're most excited about? What are you hoping do you want to see from Warner Brothers?
Can I be honest? I don't want it to be another Batman game. I want it to be a DC game. Batman can be there, but we've had all these rumors about this Justice League project or something.
Right.
Or Superman or Wonder Woman or whatever.
Right.
I mean, I'm still excited for a new Batman, don't get me wrong. With all the rumors about the Court of Owls and this great storyline, I'm very excited about that. But what I really want to see is using that great combat system and putting it into a new character.
Like Spider-Man.
Hey, they did it great in Spider-Man, absolutely. In fact, they improved that fighting combat in Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man fits that combat style better.
Agreed.
And Batman is definitely limited, so imagine putting that into, like, you play the Catwoman missions, right? Like, it felt so much better with someone who is quote unquote more agile than Batman.
Agreed.
So I would love to see like them try to keep DC going. I really wish that they would just team up with Ed Boon though and get those story writers from Injustice to help make a gritty, insane Justice League or DC game.
Are you more excited about WB than you are about Xbox first party?
Yeah, because what are we going to get from Xbox first party?
Halo, Forza.
Yeah, played those games.
Fable.
Fable's exciting. Absolutely.
Perfect Dark.
That game, why? we don't need more Perfect Dark. It's had its time. I'm not excited about Perfect Dark.
That's a rumor though of what the initiative is working on is Perfect Dark, right?
Yeah, it is, but I don't know how I feel about that. I love Joanna Dark.
Hellblade 2?
Hellblade. There's definitely games I'm excited about. Don't get me wrong, but I can't put one game at Warner Brothers that I'm excited about that makes me more excited than Microsoft first party in general.
Okay, no, that makes sense.
But Fable, I'm excited for a new Fable. I just don't know what it's going to be.
For sure. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, the game?
No, we have that. Okay. That's the Bethesda game.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm excited for the WB one too, mostly because I want to know if this Harry Potter RPG thing is legit.
Yeah, the thing that we've been like fawning over for 2 years.
For 2 years at this point, yeah. That's the thing. I obviously of all these, I'm most excited for PlayStation because I want to know. I have some pretty solid ideas of what the first parties are working on, but we outside of Ghost of Tsushima and The Last of Us Part 2, and obviously this studio that does the show, we really don't know what else.
That's Santa Monica.
Like, I always San Diego.
The San
Diego studio who does the show. Santa Monica is
God of War. Yeah.
That's what I always mess up though, so that's why I didn't say it because I had to think about it really hard.
Well, I'll mess it up for you.
Yeah, thanks. So obviously San Diego, and because we know that probably their next edition of the show next year is going multi-platform. And they're going to keep doing that because that game sells gangbusters for them. But outside of that, like we don't know at all what any of the PlayStation first party studios are working on. We have some assumptions and some guesses. I'm guessing Polyphony is making a new Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
I am guessing that this whole new Silent Hills thing coming out of Studio Japan is real. I'm guessing that Guerrilla is making Horizon Zero Dawn 2. Those are all guesses that I feel pretty good about, but we don't know for sure.
Can we get a new MLB show if there's no baseball season?
Why not?
Yeah, just suck more money out of people. What roster changes are you going to make?
Well, the roster changes will still happen, but players will still sign with different teams and move and all that good stuff. So
I did get my refund for my tickets.
They are playing. There is a custom league that is played on Sony San Diego's Twitch channel that is MLBers playing the show against each other.
Oh.
And Adam Wright is, I think, the league commissioner, and he's gets all the games organized and has people playing against each other. But that's kind of cool. But anyway, anything else about Summer Game Fest you want to talk about? Anything else you're excited about to see?
I'm excited. I'm bummed that we had to cancel the PSVG house party.
Yeah,
we could have still done it with this, but realistically, we don't know that we could even do it.
Yeah.
By what's happening now and if that's even possible. So I'm just excited that we're going to have more content. So bring it on.
Indeed. All right. So Summer Game Fest starting now. I think Xbox's event is really kind of the thing kicking it off.
Yeah.
So be on the lookout. And Jeff Keighley's going to be hosting pre and post shows for all of the things. So be on the lookout for that. Streaming on all of the major platforms. And also Steam and Xbox have confirmed that they will offer demos and trials of some games for a limited time. So just be on the lookout for those things. Josh, what is your third topic?
So before we get into my third topic, I have to ask you.
Yes.
Frosthaven.
Yeah, it's a game.
What'd you do? Did you do nothing? Did you back it? Did you not back it? What happened?
I'm going to ask you a counter question. What do you think I did?
Well, it all depends on the conversation you had with your wife. Now, I think, based on my comment on your question, was that you backed Gloomhaven and Frosthaven.
That is what I did.
Yeah, that makes me happy.
So no, I did back at the Oh, I mean, I always wonder why people get kitschy about this because it's obviously very clearly printed. Yeah, I backed the $285 level.
You don't have to tell the price.
Well, but anyone could go and see how much it was.
Yeah, but they have to do the work.
Big deal. Yeah, that's fine. But the reason I felt okay with it, because that's a ton of money, right? That is a lot of money for games. But the way I came to, I don't want to say terms with it, but the way I said, okay, I'm going to do this, is it was just my birthday present.
Nice.
So my birthday was back in March, but because of all the stuff going on, we really hadn't done anything for it yet.
Yeah.
So that just became my birthday present. So that is why I did jump in and get it. I backed it when there was about an hour left. So I got it pretty close to the end there. But yes, so I should have Gloomhaven in July.
That's awesome.
Frosthaven like a year later. So
if only they could have fit Heart of the Lion into that pledge.
Oh, if only.
Because you get 4 more characters.
I know.
Yeah, that's great. No, I'm happy that you did that. I hope you like it.
I hope I will too. I'm excited about it.
And yeah, I mean, it's like $440 retail, so you're saving a lot of money as well. So you're getting a lot of content. And I'm glad that you're going to get, Gloomhaven, and you get that to the table. I was really hoping, I'm not kidding, my plan was to do the all-in and get the Gloomhaven thing would only cost me $40 more. I didn't realize it didn't include the broken token insert, and I was going to send it to Lucas because he's been eyeing Gloomhaven to play with his wife. So unfortunately, when you listen to this, Lucas, I did not buy you Gloomhaven.
Did you hear how many broken token inserts were backed just initially in the campaign?
I didn't, but based on the amount of backers, I can only imagine that those people are working from home building cutouts now.
Yeah, Broken Token tweeted, and I'm not going to go back and find the tweet, but it was something at the time that they tweeted it, and this was a couple days before the campaign ended. It was over 30,000 people had gotten the organizer. Yeah,
if you were hoping for a Broken Token organizer for a new game you bought, you might have to wait a year because they're going to be busy. It's insane. Okay, so even with the success of Frosthaven, which, by the way, is now the #1 highest grossing board game Kickstarter in history, surpassing Kingdom Death Monster, which actually backed Frosthaven, which is pretty funny. People screenshotted the Kingdom Death Monster has backed Frosthaven.
Right.
And
I'm going to pause you quick.
Yeah. Huh?
Oh, no, sorry. You can finish, and then I'm going to pause you.
So they passed $12.4 million, which is what Kingdom Death Monster was.
So here's your pause. Okay, are you ready? We're going to do a quiz.
Oh, yeah.
Top 10 tabletop game Kickstarter projects as of May 1st, 2020.
Okay.
So we obviously already know #1, Frosthaven.
Yeah.
Finished at $12.969 million.
Insane.
#2, which you already referred to, Kingdom Death Monster 1.5.
Yeah.
At $12.393 million. All right. 3 through 10, Josh. What do you take a stab? What do you think? Anywhere in that group, what do you think's in there?
Simon. and
you have to pick a specific game.
So I'm gonna guess Batman, Gotham Chronicles. I'm gonna guess Blood Rage.
Whoa. Okay. Batman, Gotham City Chronicles by Monolith. #8.
Okay.
$4.4 million.
Blood Rage?
No.
Oh. Ankh?
No.
Horizon Zero Dawn?
No.
I'm not going to be good at this.
There's one that you're missing that's way lighter that got really, really big.
Exploding Kittens, #3.
Correct. Exploding Kittens was #3.
Yeah, I did know that.
But at #3, Exploding Kittens was $8.78 million.
Yeah.
So huge difference jump from 3 to 2.
Yeah.
Any other you want to take a stab at?
You're going to say them and I'll probably get it. Is Cloudspire one of them? No.
It is not.
It didn't even pass $1 million. No, I'm not sure.
Okay, so #4, Seventh Continent.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
$7 million. #5, Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon.
Oh, I didn't say Gloomhaven.
At $6.3 million. #6, Dark Souls.
Oh, okay. The game that people haven't gotten yet?
Yeah, $5.469 million. #7, Zombicide Green Horde at $5 million. 8, Batman and Gotham City Chronicles, like we talked about. 9 is Nemesis by Awakened Realms at $4.277 million. And #10 is Rising Sun.
Oh, Rising
by
Sun.
Come On at $4.228 million. Really quick again. what I find most interesting about this, for all these games, there's one that had by far the most number of backers, which was Exploding Kittens at 219,000 backers.
Oh my God.
Okay. The average backer, so the dollars per backer then was $40 for Exploding Kittens.
That's still too much.
Right. Okay. The next game on the list with the most number of backers is Frosthaven at 83,000 backers.
I showed it to my wife today. I said, they have to make 83,000 copies of this game.
I know, right?
And some odd number of more copies of Gloomhaven.
Right. And the funny thing is that is more than double the game with the next highest number of backers, which is pretty ridiculous. However, the thing that I find the most interesting, so dollars per backer for Frosthaven was $155.91.
Okay.
Here's the kicker one that for me just makes my heart, well, we'll do one more and then we'll get to that one. Batman Gotham City Chronicles.
Yeah.
19,000 backers, $228 per backer.
Yeah, because it was like $484 to get everything. It was insane.
But here's the big kicker. Kingdom Death Monster.
Yeah.
19,264 backers, $643.33 per backer.
Yeah, I don't understand what game they're playing.
So anyway, I just thought that was super interesting. I was looking for a list like that, and it actually just posted on ICV2 just a little bit ago. So there we go. Thanks, ICV2. That was pretty awesome. But yeah, so if you want to see the top 10 most successful board game Kickstarters of all time, it's there. But this makes Frosthaven third most successful Kickstarter ever, right?
Yeah, second or third. Yeah. It was close to second, so I don't know if it passed it or not. But yeah, that's incredible. And I'll say this now. It speaks to the quality of Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
For sure. So that's why I'm even more happy you're getting Gloomhaven. Anyways, so even with the success of Frosthaven, Kickstarter, it's not invulnerable to COVID-19 and its effect on our economy. In fact, Kickstarter is preparing to shed up, I'll put that in quotes, shed up to 45% of their staff. And this comes from an article from Gizmodo. So Kickstarter has been transparent that as a result of the pandemic, the number of fundraising projects is nowhere near normal. In fact, the shrinking revenues have forced it to drastically reduce staff. As normal, like they've taken a 35% drop in live projects. So people aren't even putting out more projects, and Kickstarter only makes a profit on their fees with the developers.
Yep.
So while they're certainly going to make a lot of money off of Frosthaven, it's kind of crazy how Kickstarter is being affected and will be affected by this. So honestly, I kind of have just a simple question for you. What is the future of Kickstarter if this pandemic continues through the summer?
I think Kickstarter... No, I guess I don't know this. My assumption would be that Kickstarter, because of the type of company it is in a situation where it would need to, or it can, grow or shrink based off the number of projects and still exist as a company. Because if you have 100 projects and each person is responsible for managing 10 projects that are there, you need 10 people. If you have 50 projects, now you only need 5 people.
Yeah.
Granted, there are people who are in positions, and it's obviously never as simple as I just made it out to be. But I think because Kickstarter has become such a constant force, especially the board game world, I think that Kickstarter, to a degree, will always be there. But maybe it is going to start losing, the amount of weight it carried in the startup world, right? That there's a lot of companies who this is how they get their start. This is how they get their stuff printed. I don't know if that necessarily everyone now goes to Indiegogo or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think that Kickstarter probably has to be, really thinking about how it is managing its staff. They were the first tech company to unionize, which happened just a couple months ago.
Yep. So
that obviously, the fact that they have said, yep, we're laying people off, and it is happening, means that typically everyone there had to say, yeah, we recognize this needs to happen. So it is, I think, a little worrisome, but I also don't think Kickstarter's going away. What about you?
I mean, I agree with you to an extent. Like, I definitely agree. Like, they can weather the storm, so to speak, but it is tough because they definitely have to manage what the furloughs or voluntary layoffs or just layoffs in general and bringing more people in when they can. That's just like, that's the big challenge, right? Like, how do they manage letting people go, and how do they do it profitably? Because you let people go, they could find other jobs, then you're losing on the job training, and you're having to pay more money to or you just don't even train your people, maybe. So it's tough. It's tough to see in general. I would say, in fact, I thought Kickstarter was going to be hit way more earlier than this with the layoffs and stuff. So Indiegogo is interesting too, because like Indiegogo, they charge as soon as you pledge. Like, it's not like Kickstarter. So like, you just give money to those campaigns. So they might be making more money, but they may have less projects because, from my experience with Indiegogo campaigns, people are more hesitant to use Indiegogo because they get less money based on investment. So who knows? I think it's a bummer to see almost half of their company getting laid off.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy that we have to deal with this right now. But as someone who works in a job where I could be laid off at any minute, I also can appreciate the fact that they're trying to keep as many people on as they can while staying profitable. So, I think what's going to be more interesting is, once this is over, what the industries are going to look like, because everyone's basically been shut down for months. And just because our states tell us it's okay to go back outside doesn't mean that movies, games, comics, Kickstarters, anything's going to be ready to go.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of binging of Friends on HBO Max.
That's true. That's very true. It does say in the article from Gizmodo that it says, quote, both Kickstarter and the union agree on the terms which were negotiated for departing employees, however, which include 4 months reverence. And is that supposed to be severance?
I think it's supposed to be severance, yeah.
Okay. Up to 6 months health insurance and the ability to return to their current roles within a year if the company is in a position to hire for them.
Yeah.
So that sounds good, right? If you're going to be laid off, that sounds about as good as you can get for being laid off. That, not saying it still isn't a very traumatic situation. But also, if you're a Kickstarter and you can pay 4 months salary and 6 months medical benefits, I'm not extremely worried about the health of the company if you can do all of that,
Yeah.
And in some ways, that is a company recognizing, we talked about this a lot back when Telltale shut down.
Yeah.
That they just basically said, we're done, with a week's notice, and nobody got anything. This is a company recognizing, hey, we're going to be looking at our financials and forecasting and saying, if things continue at this trend, here's what we need to do. So we need to end things now, because if we wait for the 4 months, then we might be in a situation where we can't give people anything. Or if we wait the 6 months, maybe we can't give them anything. It was a difficult decision for a company to make, right? As an employee, which would you rather have? Would you rather have them take the quote unquote safe bet? And that this way you now can get pay while you search for a new job and do these other things? Or would you rather just be employed for the next 6 months and then get nothing?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough call. But it's nice to have that job security, or at least for within that year. The problem, my biggest worry is long term, right? So these employees, they get paid for 4 months, and then they have to go on unemployment.
Yep.
Which there's over 3 million Americans on unemployment right now. So I can't imagine what the line is to start getting those checks. But that's no fault of Kickstarter. That's just a symptom of the system right now, which can be tough.
Yes. And it's actually way more than that, Josh. 22 million Americans have filed for unemployment benefits in the last 4 weeks.
Sorry, 3 million this week. I'm sorry. I misspoke. Yes, 3 million this week.
Yeah, so that's not good. All right. Crazy. Anything else you want to say about Kickstarter?
I love Kickstarter. Support it if you can. By supporting a project you might be excited about, you're also supporting Kickstarter, who is a service just like Game Pass or PS Now.
It is. So we were actually on the Discord, which you should definitely join the PSVG Discord. We were talking about how many Kickstarters we have backed.
Oh, yeah, let me pull mine up.
It is very clear that those of us who are into board games have definitely backed far more Kickstarters than everyone else in the group. So
58 for me.
Oh, that's quite a bit more than me even. Nice work, Josh.
Thanks.
Way to support the developers or the creative people in the world of board games and the folks at Kickstarter. All right, so my last topic, probably not going to be a surprise to anyone that I'm talking about this, but the TLOUII leakers have been identified, and it isn't disgruntled Naughty Dog or PlayStation employees. So what happens now? So this story comes from Games Radar, posted by Alyssa Mercante about a day ago when we're recording this. And it says, quote, Sony has identified the people, yes, people, responsible for the massive The Last of Us 2 leaks, and it's not the rumored disgruntled Naughty Dog employee, according to a report from Polygon. Quote, SIE has identified the primary individuals responsible for the unauthorized release of TLOUII exclusives, a Sony rep told Polygon. They are not affiliated with Naughty Dog or SIE. We are unable to comment further because the information is because the information is subject to an ongoing investigation.
Yeah.
So, Josh, what are your thoughts? You heard that they caught him. What are your thoughts on that? And number two, what do you think happens to these folks?
Well, first of all, I thought we'd be talking about either Shannon Woodward and Ashley Johnson are going to be streaming their Last of Us 1 playthrough, or that Nolan North and Troy Baker had a falling out and are no longer speaking. I thought those are interesting stories. This one, it's not so interesting to me. They aren't telling us who did it. It's very vague. They could just be lying. I'm not saying they're lying, but they could just be like, hey, we found them, but we can't tell you who they are. I think...
You really think they would do that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It was inevitable with the internet and the tools we have. Even the communities that would help find these people, that this person or persons was found. Capital punishment? Can that be the crime? Because that's what I want. No. I'm glad they were found, and the crime should, they should do what the crime entails. And I don't know the laws of piracy or breaching of contract or however they got this information. But I think that they should face the full the fullest extent of the law for that crime. And we talked about this before. This is something that someone did to, it's weird to say hurt other people because you're not physically hurting people.
Right.
It's something these people did to to ruin someone's experience as a consumer, and also to potentially diminish the thousands of hours of work a whole studio did to make a game.
Yep.
And it's very easy to see if you're on Twitter, and even if you just follow one person who works from Naughty Dog, you see how everyone at Naughty Dog feels about this.
Yeah.
They're devastated for the fans.
Right.
And also for themselves. But everything that they're saying is they're very sad about the fans, but also they're also saying we are very excited for you to see what else is in this game. You haven't seen anything. The spoilers don't ruin the story.
Right.
Stay tuned. Even Neil Druckmann's I'm so excited for you guys to play this. And then he says block keywords, block key terms, and I think someone posted on one of Donnie's comments, excited about Ashley Johnson and Shannon Woodward streaming. They're don't read the comments because there's going to be terrible people in there ruining The Last of Us 2. And I feel bad for Shannon Woodward and Ashley Johnson because they're going to see those comments. I mean, they know what's going on, but it's not going to make them feel good about someone. These are actors who spent time acting out a video game. They put a lot of physical work into this game as well. That stinks for them too. You're really excited for this community to see your work, and it just gets spoiled via some jerks who decided this is their time. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Games Radar story summarizes it very, very well. It says, quote, "There's also no word yet on what sort of legal ramifications these individuals will face. But considering now there's an army of jerks spamming Twitch chats and live streams with The Last of Us 2 spoilers, I sincerely hope justice is served piping hot."
Yeah, no kidding, right? It's, yeah.
But that's what's a horrible, and this is the thing that I think, kind of what you said is horrible about this, is that there's no way to be totally safe of it, right? We talked earlier about the Assassin's Creed Valhalla painting that Boss Logic was doing. There were people in the Twitch chat posting spoilers of The Last of Us 2 in the Twitch chat for Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Really?
Yes. and which I missed those, but even there was something I've seen one spoiler now, because someone responded to a completely not like a PlayStation tweet about something, nothing to do with The Last of Us, nothing to do with anything. And someone responded to it with a spoiler for The Last of Us 2. And I was like, oh man, I've been really careful. And what I saw wasn't, for me, I was like, okay, that's fine. It wasn't a big deal. But then when you look at Neil Druckmann's tweets and stuff, he signs off a lot of his tweets now saying like, don't read the comments or don't look at the tweet replies to this because you will get a spoiler. Because everyone, for everything he tweets now, is putting spoilers in their replies to his tweet, no matter what his tweets are about. And it's so sad that people get really excited about ruining someone else's experience.
It's such a bummer.
So, yeah, and it is, I mean, how big of a bummer must it be for Neil Druckmann to say, hey, we're really excited for you to play our game, now mute all terms related to it. So you can't participate in any of the excitement leading up to the game's release because you're probably going to get spoiled on something. Like, that's got to be really, really disheartening. So I feel very bad for them about that. But yeah, I'm still really excited for the game. I just think it's very unfortunate because anything video game related at this point now is kind of, you got to be really careful, because even completely non-related video game news is getting connected to The Last of Us 2 spoilers, and it's very, very unfortunate.
It's such, it still bugs me that this is something that happens in this community. I don't know that it happens in other communities. I can't say that I've seen it. But like we've talked so many times before about how I view spoilers and how you view spoilers, and other people in our groups. So imagine even 50% of the people feel the same way I do about having stuff spoiled like that. That's a lot of people that you're just ruining an experience of a full, huge project that a studio has spent years developing because people just can't chill out.
Right, exactly. Ugh. Anyway, so that's it for our topics. We do have a listener question related to our last topic, so why don't you take us through that, Josh?
Hey, so Donnie from PSVG at Play Nintendo on Twitter, he wrote us a question. He says, now that we know the leak wasn't from an employee as early reports, do you think anyone will rethink / reevaluate using the event to bash Naughty Dog crunch issues? Also, do you think the plan was always the 19th of June, or did the leak force their hand? Kyle, what do you think about, let's do the first part. Do you think that people are going to either rethink or reevaluate using the event to bash Naughty Dog's crunch issues?
Nope. I think they will use it maybe even more now, because there will now be articles that say, despite the leak not being from, why we should still care about. That is what the articles will now be.
I think it's opposite. I think that's going to get washed underneath and people are going to forget about the crunch.
Oh, really? You think so?
I think that's what's going to happen, because do gamers really care about crunch?
Yeah, I'm not saying necessarily that the gamers care. I'm saying if someone were to write an article about it, I don't think this would dissuade them from writing the article. I think they would just reframe how they wrote the article.
So there'd be like one article from Bloomberg, because that's where Schreier is now. And it's going to be like, Crunch tactics.
Exactly. So, yeah, but that is what I think would happen. I don't think it would change anyone from writing the article. They would just reframe it as, even though this wasn't related, why we should still care about crunch or something like that. That's what I think, at least.
Okay, and do you think that they're always planning on June 19th, or do you think this was pushed because of this supposed, I shouldn't say supposed, it's actual, because of this actual leak?
I don't think that the leak pushed their date, because when they announced the date was way too close to when the leak happened. A company like PlayStation, we have seen in the past, does not move that fast. They're not that nimble. They're not that adept. I think that they already knew the dates, that they knew what Ghost of Tsushima was moved to. And the reason I believe that to be true more than anything is that when they announced the delay initially, Neil Druckmann was on the PlayStation podcast now. They changed the name to the official PlayStation podcast, not the PlayStation Blogcast. He was on that, and they asked the question, is there a chance you could just release it digitally on this date already? And he said, I don't know. It's something we're looking at.
Yeah.
So I think there was still the possibility that they were not even going to push the digital one, but they ended up deciding to. So I don't know that. Yeah, I think the 19th was the date they were planning on, or right around there. I don't think that the leak changed that. What about you?
I think that certainly the timing makes people think that. Absolutely. But no, I don't think that it changed it either. I think I think that they were constantly like looking at dates they could use for Last of Us. I think it was already done before they delayed it previously. I think we were even told as much. Yep. So I think that it just was bad timing, or for the leak versus the announcement. In fact, they probably already had a date set up to announce that date, and then they were just like, okay, we're just gonna say it instead of doing an event, because we got to get some positive press out.
Right.
So I think it probably had something to do with when it was announced, but not the date that it is coming out.
Yeah. The only way I might backtrack on this is if suddenly we find out that the physical editions and the special editions and stuff suddenly aren't available on the 19th. That would be the only thing, because my assumption would be that they were able to get their manufacturing issues straightened out, and it got straightened out far faster than they thought it would. So they're like, oh, well, never mind. We should be good to go in. We only need to push a couple weeks, not what we thought might be a couple months. So that is what I think. And I also think, I think this date is, I really think they were trying to do everything in their power to not push things to August and September, just because they're trying to avoid new console stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think this was a very concerted effort on their part, and I think things just went a little faster than they thought it was going to. So
yeah.
All right, well, time to wrap the show up, but we obviously need to give you a recommendation for a well-rounded life. We're obviously a gaming podcast, but we want to give you that one recommendation, suggestion, or thing we're currently into that's helping us live a well-rounded life. Josh, what is your recommendation for our listeners this week?
Kyle, I don't have one.
That's okay. That happens.
I was trying to think about anything new I shouldn't have used 2 in last week's.
That'll happen.
I should have just done 1. So I'll say go watch Stuber on HBO, because I gave it like a half-hearted recommendation last week. And also go watch Middleditch and Schwartz on Netflix. Double plug.
Well, Josh, it's funny that you do that, because I'm actually doing a double plug as well, because the new show that I'm watching, the new docuseries I'm watching, I'm only halfway through, and I don't know if I can recommend it or not yet.
Oh, I did start watching Waco based on your recommendation.
And what do you think so far?
I was very good, but I tried staying up too late, and I fell asleep on like the 3rd episode. And Netflix kept playing the episodes,
gotcha.
So I have to figure out where I stopped watching. But
gotcha.
Yeah, the acting is great. Taylor Kitsch, I can't even tell that it's him.
I know, right?
He looks like a different actor.
Yeah,
it's very good so far. Very fascinating. In fact, it reminded me of Bad Times at the El Royale. It reminded me of Chris Hemsworth, his character, just specifically that part of the movie, which I'm sure they've all like that took stuff from Manson, but obviously knowing this guy was a real guy makes it way more fascinating.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah. So sorry to interrupt your recommendation.
No, it's okay, because my recommendation still is Waco on Netflix, because last week I hadn't finished the show yet. I've now finished it.
Nice.
And it is really good. It's surprising to me because I looked on IMDb, and on IMDb it's rated a 7.9 or something like that, which is really, really good.
Yeah.
But on Rotten Tomatoes, it got like a 68%.
Oh.
Which I was really surprised by, because I thought this show was absolutely captivating. I really enjoyed it, and I haven't stopped thinking about it since I almost sat down and just started watching it all over again. That's how much I enjoyed it. And part of it is just I am someone who really am fascinated by cults and things related to that. I find it very, very fascinating about those types of people and cult leaders, and how they're able to win people over, and how charismatic they are. Like, I just find something fascinating about it. So I really wanted to almost sit down and watch it again. I didn't, but I just really encourage you, if you're not watching Waco on Netflix, to please, please, please check it out. It was interesting because I was playing Call of Duty, like I mentioned earlier, and the person I play Call of Duty with is quite a bit younger than I am, and they had no idea what Waco was.
Yeah.
They're like about 10 years younger than I am, so it's not a cultural touchstone for them, like it is for us. And when I even mentioned Waco, I mentioned Waco, and they're like, what about it? I'm like, well, Waco, Texas. And they go, Baylor? I'm like, well, yeah, Baylor's there, but no, the other thing about Waco. And they go, Chip and Joanna Gaines? And I'm like, what? Well, I mean, them too, but no, the thing that Waco was known for prior to Chip and Joanna Gaines, and they had no idea what I was talking about. So if you are younger, please note that this was something that absolutely captivated the United States for the early months of 1993. So please check out Waco on Netflix. Josh, what do you say we wrap this show up?
Let's do it. Thanks for joining us, everyone. In addition to finding us on Twitter and Instagram at BoredWithVG, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/BoredWithVG. So feel free to give us a 5-star rating over there. Also, if you want to communicate in the more long form, or you're just not feeling social media, please feel free to email us at boredwithvg@gmail.com. We do get those emails you're sending. It's nice to hear from you guys. Also, we tag our stuff with #boredwithvg. So please use that hashtag as well on all of your social medias. Whatever podcast service you're listening to us on, we encourage you to give us that stellar rating we speak of. That is, whether you're downloading us from the PSVG feed, the Dice Tower Network feed, or our very own standalone Bored with Video Games feed. You can find me on PlayStation Network and Xbox Live at Why So Serious. That's SIRRIUS. Once again, that Switch code, it's out there. If you want it, let me know. Come visit my island. It's fun. Kyle, where can people find you?
So you can find me on all of the usual places: Twitter, Instagram, PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, Board Game Geek, all at Psychocross, CYCOCROSS. One thing I just thought about that we're going to have to address next week, Josh, Metaspring is technically over, because Marvel's Iron Man VR and The Last of Us 2 were delayed outside of the zone for the contest. So even though Last of Us 2 is coming out in June, that's past the last date we said for Metaspring. So we will next week reveal the results for Metaspring. So that'll actually probably be a good chunk of the show. And we'll still do the Quacks of Quedlinburg contest as well. So it's going to be a big prize week next week on Board with Video Games. So be sure to tune in. As always, if you have suggestions for future topics, be sure to reach out to us on the social media, because we want to talk about what you want to hear about. And remember, everyone, whether it be board games or video games, never stop gaming.